All right. So I wanted to talk about one of my favorite stories, Neville Goddard's The Law and the Promise. If you haven't listened or read it, please check it out. It's amazing, right? So I want to talk about the couple that manifested an apartment. So there was this couple that had a plot of land, right? And they're like, man, they've always wanted an apartment complex on it. But you know, like most of us, they were told in their life that they can only go about the logical way of getting an apartment, right? They have to get, tons of jobs to make tons of money to save and maybe get a loan and maybe get approved, maybe not, maybe have people who can help them build this apartment, right? That's the process we've been told. So what did Neville Goddard tell them, right? Neville was like, okay, here's my process. You imagine that you already have your apartment. Imagine a scene that implies it's already built and you already have renters, right? So they imagined, right, walking through their apartment building, right, talking to people, talking to the renters, right? And they just lived in the fulfillment of that, right? Of the end. So they're like, hey, okay, we are gonna skip, right? We're gonna skip these logical steps of working and, loans and approvals and searching for things, right? We're gonna skip that, right? We're just gonna go. We're just gonna imagine the end, and we're not gonna worry about it, right? So months go by, right? They're still, right? They haven't given up, right? And I know sometimes even for me, when a month passes by, I'm like, where's my stuff? I don't see anything, right? But they're like, no, we're not gonna worry. We're not gonna do anything other than imagine, right? Because what? If you're living in the end and you have your apartment, if you already have it, you're not doing anything to get it, right? It's already yours, right? If you own a black car right now, you don't do anything to get it. It's already yours. So that's, how they were going about this process. Months go by, right? And then this man shows up that they saw in the newspaper that they thought were really cool, a contractor. And he's like, hey, I noticed your plot of land. I think you should pay me some money and we can work together and we can make this happen. And the couple were like, that's really cool. We really like it, but we don't have any money to pay for this. But that's really cool. But thank you. Bye. And they basically said, okay, cool, bye. Thank you. And they didn't do anything and they kept on imagining. Okay, so then the man comes by again. He's like, okay, I talked to some people and they can get you a loan. So let's do this thing. And the couple was like, that's really cool, but that's really, like, our budget is like $1. We can't do thousands of dollars. Our budget is like $0, but thank you. Right? And then, so what did they do? Nothing. They just kept on imagining, right? They imagined little Susie in her apartment. They imagined little Dave in his apartment, right? They imagined the little entryway in their apartment. They just kept on imagining their apartment. So the next day, the contractor comes back. He's like, okay, let me finance it. I'm going to do this for you. And then you can pay me back when it's done. And then finally the couple's like, yes, bet, let's go. So that happens, right? And what the couple had done initially was, before it was built, they imagined their one, skeptical friend coming through the apartment being like, wow, this is so crazy. Like, how lovely is this, right? And so once the apartment was built, they're like, everything's happening except for this one manifestation. But then their one friend came over, right, that they had imagined and was like, isn't this apartment building so lovely, right? And so they had manifested their apartment And they didn't do a thing. All they did was imagine, right? That imagine their apartment already alive, already thriving. They could have taken the loan. They could have taken the bait and said, "Okay, we'll get that loan and we'll go into debt for it." Right? This guy came by, the contractor came by several times, right? And he was just responding to their imagination. He was like, "We have to do this. I'm obsessed now. We have to get this done." And so finally the couple said yes. And the couple, they didn't do anything. Did they have 10 years of experiences building apartments? No. They have, trust fund money to fund themselves? No. They didn't really have anything that, the world or the contractor could have relied on to believe in this, but they believed in themselves, and that's all that mattered. And they were like, "We're not taking the bait. We're gonna be brazenly impudent," as Neville says, and this thing is gonna happen. So, yeah, this is in the book The Law and the Promise by Neville Goddard, and it's an amazing book. Definitely go check it out. It's one of my favorites. It just has so many example stories that are so encouraging. But anyways, also my daily assumptions journal is available for download, so if you're interested, go check that out, and I hope this story encouraged you today.